Well, hey everybody, it's your good buddy 650 Eve here, coming to you from another beautiful hot day in the gorgeous Cleveland area. And today, I'm going to be riding both of my Ducati Panigale machines, and I'm going to give you my impressions on these outstanding motorcycles. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you're already a subscriber, tap that bell, and you'll get notified when I upload new content. We've got to walk past these gorgeous machines and make our way to the Panigales that I have out here in the driveway on this hot day. Let's start with the 2013 1199R that I've had for about 8 years now. What a fantastic machine. Obviously, neither one of these bikes are stock. They both have parts supplied to us by our good buddy Miami Manny at Motor Million. They both have Rotobox wheels. This one has Boost carbon fiber wheels with red accents. They look absolutely gorgeous. This is a beautiful, beautiful motorcycle. And in case you didn't know, if you haven't been following me for a while, I had to have my 1199 engine taken out of this motorcycle and replaced by a 1299S engine, basically because of the way I ride these motorcycles. I do a lot of racing on them and all sorts of things, and I went through 2 1199R engines, and finally our good friends at Ducati said, okay, let's give this guy a more reliable, for my type of high-end smackdown shenanigans, let's give you the more reliable 1299S engine. Much appreciated. And they bolted it right into the motorcycle, and everything seems to work really nicely. Next to it, we have my beautiful 2019 Panigale V4 R, an outstanding motorcycle with its 998cc engine. Engine is totally different from the one found on the V4S and the V4 SP. This is an awesome engine that has a higher rev limit. It revs to 16,500 RPM. That's the red line on this sick savage of a motorcycle. And this thing just absolutely screams. Gorgeous, gorgeous machine. This one has the Rotobox Bullet carbon fiber wheels on it, but not for long, because we've got some ThyssenKrupp wheels coming for this amazing Panigale V4R. So that's going to be outstanding. Lots of cool parts given to us by my good buddy Miami Manny at Motor Million. Okay, well, I've talked about these machines. We've looked at them for a little bit. Let's start them up. Give them a start so you can hear how they sound. This is not a cold start. These bikes have been properly warmed up. Never a good idea to give a Ducati a cold start and then try to rev on it. Bad things will happen if you try to do that. But this motorcycle was groundbreaking back in 2013. One of the first street motorcycles with light-emitting diode headlights. It was definitely the first street bike with a thin film transistor TFT screen. And it had a quick shifter too back then. It now has an auto blipper provided by our good friends at Blipbox. So this thing can go up and down without the clutch. It's a great bike. That Terminioni exhaust sounds amazing. Okay, let's take a look at the V4R and see and hear how it sounds with its Akrapovic exhaust. Now you may have noticed right away, the Panigale V4R has a dry clutch. This one, as you can see from the Motul oil in there, has a wet clutch. I love the sound of the dry clutch. Some of you hate that sound, but that's not my problem. I think it sounds brilliant. This one has Ducati's more up-to-date TFT screen. And as I mentioned before, scores of aftermarket parts. Okay, we've done a little walking around these bikes in the driveway. Now it's time for me to jump on the 2013 first and give you my impression of it. All right, she's warmed up. Let's go.
that was on this bike. It's really nice. And the first thing you'll notice is all the massive torque that this bike has. It's amazing. And now I completely understand why certain Ducati fans cried like little sissy girls when the V4 came out, because it doesn't have all of this massive torque. Wow. It is very nice to have that. And the sounds and snorkels that this bike makes, they're great. And even me being 6'3", 225 pounds, I fit pretty decently on this bike. Man, this thing, it really handles well. Wow. I see why people were so enraged when I stretched a Panigale V4. And the auto clip and quick shifter, just magnetic, spot on. Auto clip, of course, is my blip box. Man, this thing, it just goes wherever you want it to go. And the brakes, man, the brakes. Exceptional. Exceptional. This bike deserves another run before this Mercedes comes. Here we go. Everything about this bike is just amazing. For it to be an 8-year-old machine, it was definitely ahead of its time. When it debuted in 2013, but now it still performs like magic. I just can't get over the sound, the noise that comes from this turn before exhaust. Oh wow, this might be my new bike for giant crying and back road shenanigans. Definitely likes to do them. There we go. An amazing, amazing bike. Wow. Man, it's a good thing I rode this one fast. The V4 R is going to be tough to beat this thing, I tell you. Wow. It's going to be tough to beat this bike. I mean, it could be. I'm just trying to think of what's making this bike so exceptional. The handling, the brakes, the performance of the engine. And this is the 1299S engine in this thing. And it's just raw and crazy. Man. And this bike is from the era where you didn't have all of the electronics that are found on the modern bikes. Slide control doesn't exist. Lane departure and all that stuff doesn't exist. It's just a raw bike. I'm riding it in race mode right now with ABS setting at 1. Engine braking set at 1, and this thing is just going nuts. Now that I'm riding it a little longer, I can remember some of the things I dislike about the bike, and that is these crazy schizophrenic mirrors that just vibrate like crazy. You can't see anything. At least that's what I tell law enforcement when they eventually try to pull me over. I didn't see it back there for miles and miles because my mirrors were shaking. They've somewhat corrected that on the modern Panigale motorcycles, but that's still an issue. Aside from that, this thing is a joy to ride. One thing I forgot to mention in my review is that this bike is not very comfortable to ride long distances on the highway compared to the more modern bike. You are basically sitting on top of this motorcycle instead of sitting in the motorcycle like you do on the more modern machines. Having said, I keep accidentally turning on the high beam, but that's okay. But the vibrations you get and all the noise and the drama. They kind of make up for that. The discomfort. Because, man, this bike just scoots, man. We've got to see my good buddy, either Dawson's Creek or my son, Valentine, on this machine. Oh, wow. They would hurt a lot of feelings. A lot of feelings indeed. What a great bike. I can't believe that I actually don't ride this thing. And I've kept it tucked away in the garage all this time. I'm going to start riding this bike a lot more. Coming soon. Different Ducati. Same road. And then we got to start off with a guy walking his doggy. But the first thing I noticed from swapping bikes is that this bike does not have the ridiculous, insane amount of torque that the 1199R has. But that's okay, because in exchange for that, I'm sitting on a more smooth motor. That just revs seemingly to infinity and beyond. And so the compromise for not having all that crazy massive torque on tap is to just be in a lower gear. So if you're at a truck or something, you'll find yourself in a lower gear. And you can get yourself some torque and some grunt if that's what you're looking for. But this bike is amazing. This is the bike that my long-haired friend, the Ducati CEO Jason Chinook, ordered his team to make specifically for me. Well done, guys, well done. What a screamer of a motorcycle. Wow, who needs all that crazy torque? When you got a smooth V4 platform. This thing is nice! Whoa! Let's test the brakes. Oh, they're even better, obviously. It's a newer bike. These brakes are even more improved. Don't try to come up my road. Keep going, keep it moving. Private road. All right, here we go. Quick shift and auto grip on this thing is even better. So basically, Ducati improved on everything. In this version of the Panigale V4, compared to the last generation, the 1199R. Power delivery, see, second gear. You know, that's enough grunt for you truck guys to get you out of the corners or whatever you're looking for. I do think the 1199 handles better than this one, believe it or not. Maybe because it's more narrow. The 1199 weighs a bit less, it's 415 pounds wet. This one's 418 pounds wet. 3-pound difference. Probably not noticeable. But something about that bike gives me the feeling whoa, that it handles better. Alright. Oh, that was outstanding. Wow. So, now let's talk about some other things. This bike is 1,000 times more comfortable than the 1199. The heat emitting from this bike is coming from under the seat rather than on the sides of the bike, so your legs aren't getting cooked, rather your tush is a bit hot. Reminiscent of when I was a small boy and my parents used to spank me for being naughty. That's how my butt feels right now. In the winter, 4 months, that's great. Keep you warm. On hot days like this, 90 degrees Fahrenheit, it's not to the point where you're going to jump off the bike in a fit of rage, but it is something that you notice. Obviously, the gauges are better, second generation, thin film transistor Ducati gauges. They're brilliant. Wow. And it has the creature comforts, the luxury items that people like me look for on a motorcycle, including self-canceling turn signals, which the 1199 doesn't have. We'll see you, bud. Have fun walking a doggy. Wow. I don't have to put this bike on the highway to tell you, because I've ridden it many, many miles on the highway. This thing is absolutely mint, great and comfortable for long journeys. Unlike that other bike I just got off of, the 1199. Man, I mean, they're both great bikes. It's great to have both. Should people that have an 1199, a 1299, replace it with the V4? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would. Definitely. Wow. But this is a great machine. It's a fantastic machine, in fact.
All right, let's summarize these two amazing machines, starting with the 2013 1199R with its 1299S engine. Great bike. 8-year-old machine, still looks brilliant, still looks amazing today, very modern. When I stop for fuel, everybody's surrounded this bike. I see why they call this particular motorcycle the Ferrari of motorcycles, because the brilliant red color, the awesome Rotobox boost wheels, and everything else on this bike make it really stand out. The aluminum exposed tank, super great. But you do sit on top of the bike. The bike does emit some heat onto your legs. It is a bit brutal when riding it, but it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable at the same time. You sort of get used to the rawness of the bike rather instantly, and then you just really enjoy hammering it and, you know, feeling all of the crazy sounds and vibrations and all of the massive torque that this machine has to offer. Quick shift auto blip worked great. Just a great machine. I really enjoy riding it. Let's move over to the 2019 Panigale V4 R. Drastically improved over this first generation R machine, indeed. Very comfortable bike to ride. You can ride it for long distances. You can just really enjoy this bike. And it feels like you can really become more engaged with this machine because you're not sitting on top of it. You're more into the motorcycle, much like the modern bikes that are in the garage. This bike's seating position has been greatly improved. My hat off to my good buddy, Jason Chinook. But the brakes, they are improved as well. They're much better than the brakes on the 1199. The instrument cluster, as I mentioned before, that's beautiful as well. But overall, if I had to pick just one of these machines to keep in the garage forever and ever, it would be the V4R, most definitely. That amazing V4 engine, silky smooth, very responsive, revs forever, lots of power, decent amount of torque. You're not going to miss the torque from that sick Savage because you can actually use the power and torque from the V4R. This bike, you'd have to be an expert level rider or some crazy dude out there on the filthy streets to use all of the power and the torque that this bike offers you. Not to mention it doesn't have the electronic nannies to get your arse out of trouble should you need it. So at the end of the day, I picked my Panigale V4R as the winner of these two bikes. All right, folks? Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned because up next in my Versus series, we're going to have the BMW M 1000 RR. Beautiful bike over here, very modern as well. It's going to go up against the BMW HP4 sitting here in the corner. So that's going to be an awesome video. I don't suspect I'm going to have some of the issues that I had with those two bikes with this HP4. And I think the choice between those two motorcycles is going to be very, very difficult indeed. Unlike the choice with this one, it was somewhat of a clear choice, picking the V4R over the 1199R. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video and stay tuned for the next installment of our Versus series. You guys have a great day, and we'll catch you next time on the 650 Eve YouTube channel.